Thank you, and I want to add my words to the others of congratulations of the bipartisan work you led, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member Murray, on the 21st Century Cures Act, and thank both of you, Dr. Collins and Dr. Gottlieb, for your service. During the committee deliberations on 21st Century Cures, I regaled the committee any number of times about being the granddaughter of NIH-funded scientist and how that influenced my championing strengthening our research enterprise and support for the NIH. But in my first year in the United States Senate in 2013, I had a particularly powerful and inspirational meeting with a young man, a high school senior. His name is Ian, and he is a bone cancer survivor from Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Ian told me that cancer research no doubt helped save his life, and that's why he wanted to grow up to be a scientist, to help others with his disease. But he was concerned that it wouldn't be possible for him to break in as a new researcher due to his awareness of NIH funding cuts at the time. Ian inspired me to author the Next Generation Researchers Act, along with my colleague, Senator Collins, to fight to improve NIH opportunities for new and early stage researchers. I am proud to report that Ian recently graduated from college, where he was helping a researcher at the University of Minnesota study the genetics of osteosarcoma, and he is now working with a scientist at Huntsman's Cancer Institute in Salt Lake City, Utah, on pediatric cancers. Dr. Collins, I'm encouraged that the NIH has begun to robustly implement the Next Generation Researchers Initiative to help support future scientific leaders like Ian as they discover cures for cancer and pursue other life-saving research. You announced a new policy this year to issue more awards to investigators in the earliest parts of their independent research careers to help them sustain or achieve research independence. I'd like it, Dr. Collins, if you could please describe how each institute and center will prioritize awards for these early and mid-career investigators, and how this will help improve and stabilize opportunities for our next generation of researchers.
Well, thank you for the question. You're touching on a personal passion that I feel and that many of the other institute directors do as well. We actually just published about a month ago, myself and Mike Lauer and Larry Tabak, a description of what this policy is and how we're going to implement it, because we passionately agree with you that the next generation is really critical for our future, and it has been a tough period with the loss in purchasing power that NIH sustained between 2003 and 2015. Those first-time early-stage investigators were having a hard time getting started, and we cannot lose them, and we were starting to. So each one of the institutes, depending on where they think they can find their flexibilities, are freeing up dollars to make it possible for those early-stage investigators who otherwise would just miss the pay line to actually get funded. We started this quite late in fiscal year 17, but we were able to make a whole bunch of awards that otherwise would not have happened. And we're not done yet, because we're actually trying to see if we can reach back into some of those fiscal year 17 reviews and fund a few more of those. And we will have a meeting next week of my advisory committee where we have a working group, which you would be interested in because it has graduate students and postdocs and junior faculty, not just the gray eminences, but the people who are really involved in this. And we will have a deep discussion about whether we have the right plan here in order to make this particular priority really happen.
You can see I'm running out of time, but I want to just note, maybe you can answer for the record, that you estimate that this new effort to prioritize more awards for early investigators would be about $210 $10 million in the next year and $1.1 billion over the next 5 years. Does NIH need additional resources for this policy to ensure that it fulfills its promise, and continue to advance all other critical NIH efforts?
Very quickly, we are prioritizing this within our existing resources, but of course we can do more of it if the resources are available.